Welcome to Your Hero Academia by Fangirl48 on AO3. Chapter 26 Successor 5. That was the number of bullets Garaki had pulled from Tomura's body. That was the number of times All for One thought his heart was going to stop. You lied, Sensei. Tomura had growled at All for One through the speakers. It wasn't weaker at all. It took all of the villain's willpower to order a warp gate from Kirigiri back to UA, that so-called hollowed halls of future heroes. They had shot Tomura. But with Garant in the room, All for One had to play it cool. The man had always disliked All for One taking in Tomura from the start, a fact that made even louder when he found out that he was the grandson of Nana Shirakuma. When it came to Tomura, the doctor had a huge chip on his shoulder. Reaching his hand out, All for One ran a hand through Tomura's hair. Thanks to his inverted quirk, the villain could only see the outline of his protege's body. Clenching his teeth, the blind man cursed All Might for the billionth time. All these feelings All for One was having right now, all these horrible memories, they wouldn't be hitting him so hard if the villain could actually see Tomura with his own eyes. Make sure he was okay. Breathing. Still alive. Still here with him. Honestly, what had the students been thinking? Breaking into UA and attacking a class of first-year students? It was more than anything All for One had managed Tomura would do for his debut. The villain was begrudgingly proud of the young man for declaring himself in such a bold fashion. It reminded him of some of his favorite childhood antagonists. No matter how much Grant complained about their lost Nomu, Tomura's Nomu, really, since the hulking Bepholth, was a gift for the young villain. A bodyguard, in case he ever got separated from Kirigiri in a fight. Something to protect him, when All for One wasn't around. Yet, All for One was also incredibly angry at Tomura for being reckless. Taking a big group like that with only Kirigiri as an escape means? No looking into students' quirk before spilling them amongst the different areas? Using the reporters to get info in the first place was clever, but forgetting to call their spy for a quick rundown on their classmates was an amateur mistake. Making sure the heroes were aware of Tomura's existence put the young man in their crosshairs. A simple mistake like that could have instantly cost the Decay user his life. Something like an attack on the USJ would have been better done after the sports festival that the school ran every year. The school's heightened sense of superiority would have plummeted to an all-time low that they've never been able to escape from. Imagine all the efforts put into protecting those attending such a big event, only for it to vanish the second it was over, leaving a group of potential heroes slaughtered. Master. Kirigiri's deep voice came from behind the villain. Carefully throwing his head to avoid tubes, All for One looked at the bartender with unseeing eyes. What happened? Sir, let me be perfectly clear before you begin. All for One pulled away from Tomura and stood up, towering over Kirigiri, those few inches in height, as much more prominent to the warp gate user. I have precious little time before I must return to my main receptor, so your report will be quick and thorough, understand? Kirigiri bowed as low as he could, the pressure of All for One's aura scaring him to the core. It took a few tries, but eventually, the warp gate user could get words out and explain everything from the very beginning. Containing Grant, deciding on a target, using the press to sneak into UA, gathering a large army of villains, attacking the USJ, fighting against Eraserhead, fighting against the children, All Might's appearance, losing Nezu, the heroes arriving, and especially everything Kirigiri could remember about the glitch. His moves, face, and presence, Kirigiri said, the substantial part of his hands digging into his pants. Everything was just like you, and he got so mad when he heard Tomura Shiragaki's name. If he hadn't have been there, we would have succeeded at the USJ and... Stop, All for One said, holding a single hand out. The villain's voice sounded utterly exhausted, even though he'd only spoken a word. Just... This is not how I wanted things to go. Gulping, Kirigiri made the bold decision to look upwards. Master, I know the boy. The villain spoke, sitting back in the chair and running his hands through his now gone hair. Kirigiri had observed over the years that All for One habitually ran his hands through his hair when stressed. Even with his white locks gone, the villain still maintained the habit. But this didn't feel like the normal stress Kirigiri felt from his master. Dare he say, All for One appeared nervous. All for One sighed. You're lucky to have escaped. What? The glitch, as Tomura called him, the villain said, a wisp of amused looking smile on his face. He's just as capable in battle as I am, perhaps even more since he's still growing like Tomura. Master, Kirigiri spoke straight again, his mouth whipping around nervously. Who is he? He's... All for One began, before cutting himself off and sighing again. A long and complicated tale. I had hoped to share it with you both someday, when he was here with us. Kirigiri pondered this for a moment. I see, the Warp Gate user said. You wish to see this boy, then? Oh, very much so. All for One answered immediately. But I made a mistake, hard as you may find that. It would be best to wait for him to calm down and reach out to me. The bartender wanted to tell All for One that he shouldn't leave things like this. That if he could, he should reach out to the child. If things improved, Kirigiri would even risk Tomura Shigaraki and the hero's wrath. But the order to obey All for One prevented him from voicing this. I do wonder, though, the ancient evil spoke, looking like a confused child. How were you able to escape? Kirigiri's eyes widened a fraction as they flickered to Tomura Shigaraki's still form. Ah! The Warp Gate user spoke, thinking back and finding the behavior strange, more that he thought about it. That confused me also. The glitch was faster than I anticipated, but its demeanor completely changed when the hero snipe shot at us. Changed. How do I put this? Kirigiri said, trying to find the right words. It's like he became scared. Oh, actually, there was something else. A name? Kachan? Fuchan? The chair clattered to the floor as All for One stood up suddenly, grabbing the Warp Gate user's shoulders. Kuchan, All for One stammered. It was Kuchan. Yes. Carefully to not alert either man. A singular red eye slot open. Tomura, in all his years of living with Sensei, had never seen this side of the man. Looking up at the ceiling, the decay user swore that he would drag that glitch to Sensei the next chance he got. No matter what, he would unravel the mystery between the two, whoever this Kuchan was between them, and gain that necessary XP to clear this level and become an even greater villain. Izuku pushed the infirmary door open slightly, feeling a pain in his chest as he saw Toshinori sitting on the bed. Izuku. The blond man smiled, giving a small wave before breaking into a fit of cough. Ah! Izuku ran in, frantically looking around. Water, where's the sink? Are you in pain? Should I get recovery girl? Do you... Relax. Toshinori waved his hands, reaching for the glass. Sikuichi had left him from the table next to the bed, and taking a small sip. It's just a cough. But Toshinori smiled, placing his hand on his side, right where his scar was. So, how was your night? Pooch settled in okay? Izuku grabbed a chair and sat down, laughing. Are you kidding? The whole dorm adopted him. Izuku pulled out his phone. Opening it, he pulled a few pictures from the night before, showing them to the hero. It's a shame some of 1B class have allergies. Otherwise, I would have taken him to visit them. Actually, no. Todoroki and Koda bonded hard with Poochie, they'd probably go full plus ultra when Monoma inevitably opens his mouth to make him a 1B mascot. Toshinori chuckled as he flipped through the pictures. Pooch mid-jump trying to catch Dark Shadow. Pooch licking young Jiro's face as the girl tried to fend off the pink tongue. Pooch belly up as young Todoroki and a few other classmates fawned over his paws. Even young Bakugo seemed to be okay with the dog's presence. Then again, he was sleeping when Porch cuddled up beside him. After his service training today, the number one hero was glad he asked Tsukuichi to bring the dog. The kid seemed relaxed in the canine's presence, and it highlighted what the trainer had told Toshinori after only a few classes with Pooch. But there are pups who born with a nose that sniffs out bad feelings. The gruff man chuckled, petting Pooch's head with a large hand. If I know any better, I swear he had a quirk. I'm glad you're all doing well after everything. Toshinori smiled, returning the phone. Izuku, did I tell you that May found a new friend? 2, actually. Izuku interrupted. Smile wider. Ashido and Kaminari joined her and formed some unholy chaos alliance against me. Kaminari tried to ask her out, but it's May, so he got shot down real quick. As a hero who always smiled no matter what he was facing, Toshinori was familiar with fake smiles. Izuku. So then Ashido asked her out, Izuku said, making a noise that sounded like an explosion. Crash and burn. Izuku. And then, Izuku. Toshinori bellowed, causing the all-or-nothing user to still look at him with wide green eyes. Taking a deep breath, the blonde looked at the other seriously. My time. It's decreased again. I. Izuku's hands touched his face, his expression pure despair. This is my fault. I should have been faster, gotten the students out instead of getting caught up in petty fights. Toshinori reached out and took the boy's hand. Tomura Shigaraki's appearance isn't petty. Honestly, I don't know what it means, myself, but last night I had a dream. I talked to your brother. What? Now, let me explain first. Toshinori held his hand up, silencing the no doubt millions of questions Izuku had. Since meeting you, I've had a few dreams where I see your brother, but this was different this time. The number one hero looked at Izuku seriously. Izuku, we estimate I have 30 minutes of using One for All. If I don't pass it to another user soon, we could lose One for All forever. Izuku's knuckles turned white with how tightly he clenched his fists. Passing One for All was the wisest plan. It would give Izuku at least some small chance to see Tomura again. But that doesn't mean that the newest holder of the quirk would welcome the all-or-nothing user in their life. Not like Toshinori had. I had some just suggested to me since my battle with your brother. Toshinori touched a scar as it throbbed at the memory. The pain was something Nemilian would never have to go through with his permeation quirk. No matter how strained his relationship with Sir Night-Eye was, Mirio was the strongest candidate for the 9th user. I see. Izuku laughed nervously, his bangs covering his eyes as he looked down. I'm glad that you have someone in mind. I bet they're an amazing person who would make Tomura proud. They would. Toshinori reached out and took Izuku's hand. But I want you to have One for All. Izuku's head whipped up so fast the blonde was worried he would have to call Recovery Girl again. What? I want you to inherit One for All. Toshinori repeated. I will be upfront with you, Izuku. No matter how much I learned from All for One, and what happened, I still hate him. No amount of pity I may feel for the man will ever make me change that fact. He hunted my predecessors down for 200 years, killing them and trying to take One for All back. Izuku felt nauseous at the words. His research into those who held One for All in the past resurfaced in his mind. All that blood spilled, all those lives were lost or ruined just so Hisashi could regain a piece of Tomura, a piece that didn't appear like it wanted to return. Toshinori nearly died because of this obsession the eldest Shigaraki had. Nana Shimura's husband was murdered, even if his killers were just someone's pawn. Long before the woman met her own grisly end, photos of a dead man in a red jacket being pulled from the rubble. Countless other previous One for All users that Izuku couldn't locate. Those lost lives at the eldest Shigaraki's hands, weighing on his shoulders. All of this was because Hisashi determined something he had no right to demand. One for All's title belonged to the eldest Shigaraki, but when Tomura adopted the moniker, it became something new, something different. One for All became Tomura's, and because of that, it was Tomura's to do as he saw fit. If that meant standing with Izuku and not Hisashi, then the all-or-nothing user would respect his and Toshinori's choice. Izuku had wanted to call his brother and yell at him the first second he was alone long enough to do so, but thinking about it would rather wait. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result was the very definition of insanity, and Izuku always ran back to Hisashi when things got bad between them. No, not this time. If his brother wanted to talk to Izuku, then Hisashi could pick up the phone and call him. Are you okay with this? Izuku asked. Giving me One for All. You said you thought Tomura. If you give me his quirk, you may never get a chance to see your master. Toshinori gave a bitter smile. I'll admit, the deepening connection I now have with the One for All. The thought of keeping it and seeing Nana is tempting. Izuku nodded because, of course it was. Having a chance to see the spirit of someone they loved so much again was something he understood very well. But Nana also hit as hard as Gran Torino. The blonde shifted into his All Might form and flexed a bicep. There's a good chance I'll be receiving, on the end of her fist, if I'm selfish about this. There was a moment of silence before Izuku shook his head, speaking softly. It's not selfish. All Might chuckled. I know, but to tell you the truth, I have this feeling, one day in the future, I will see Nana again. For the first time in a long time, Izuku prayed that his kind nephew's wish would come true. A few moments passed as Izuku took a deep breath to calm himself down. He never planned on taking One for All. But now that all he has been offered, and a way to reunite with his brother again, he couldn't help but feel eager to get it over with. Toshinori was able to see Tomura. By that logic, Izuku may also be able to see his brother. No matter how long it took Izuku, he would wait to see his brother. So, the all-or-nothing user shifted, trying to squash his excitement down. I remember that time in your apartment. Do we share a Vulcan mind man? Is there a special type of handshake or something? Oh, right. All Might coughed the barest hint of the various look on his face for a moment before it disappeared. There is an ancient tradition meant of passing down from one for all user to the next. Izuku anxiously watched as All Might reached for one of his signature bangs, plucking a singular strand of hair from it. Eat this. I love this. I am filming this on Christmas Eve. Happy Christmas Eve to those who celebrate Christmas. Those who don't celebrate, happy whatever you celebrate. Happy holidays. But it's Christmas Eve for me, and I do celebrate Christmas. And while technically speaking this is Christmas Eve for me, it is technically Christmas for me because I am a Mexican, and Christmas is celebrated at 12 a.m. I know some people don't be staying up all the way till 12 a.m., but we gotta stay up all the way to 12 a.m. so we could hold the baby Jesus and rock him. I'm not even religious. I don't even believe in God. I feel like I'm a sort of atheist type. I do believe that there's a higher entity. I just don't know what it is. I haven't found my voice yet. Whatever it is, religion isn't a big part of things. Except recently, my family has been colonized. Instead of opening the presents at 12 a.m. like it's supposed to, we've been opening them when we wake up in the morning. Like, what is this? We ain't white. We season our food. What is this? What is this? But in all seriousness, we have one chapter left and I'm gonna cry. And it's the fact that the chapter falls on Christmas too. I'm gonna cry. I'm crying. I'm not crying right now, but I'm gonna cry. I feel the tears welling up in my face. And yeah, as I predicted, Izuku got one for all. Also, if Izuku and Shigaraki, right, the oldest Shigaraki, Hisashi, don't make up in the next chapter. Like, again, with this chapter, it's giving me the whole, there's gonna be a third, evaluation? No. I don't know. A third part to the series, because I feel like everything isn't going to be wrapped up in a pretty little bow by the end of this. I feel like there's going to be a lot of loose ends and strings and stuff like that. So, I'm gonna have, I don't know, is there gonna be a second part to this? I wonder. Hold up, I'm opening up the Forgotten Musketeer. Alright, is it complete? No, it's not complete. I knew it. There's gonna be a third evolution. I really hope that the third evolution comes. Once the evolution... Oh yeah, here, Season 0. Izuku Shigaraki, complete. Season 1. Welcome to Your Hero Academia, complete. Season 2. Strained Innocence, Bittersweet Reunion, Family, War and Peace. So we have a couple more. I'm like, okay, yeah. No, there's no way that this is going to be the last. There has to be at least the third, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 coming out. They're still not out yet. But when they start coming out and stuff, I will be coming back and I will be podficking it. Of course, with the author's permission, of course. But the author already gave me permission for the first and second part of the series. So hopefully they'll give me permission for the third. What I might do for the third is that as it gets updated, I will be updating it myself, depending on stuff like that. I'll see. It depends on what I want to do. Same with the second evolution of evolution. That's not a word. That is a word. That's a Pokemon word. Of Mockingbird and Lyrebird. I'm still thinking about it if I want to like sit here and actually wait for each one to come out. I would just have to like be continuously checking and stuff like that. But that is stuff that I'm thinking about and looking into and stuff. But yeah, I think that's enough of my little rant. As I said, I'm actually happy that this is the last part of the series. But yeah, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my socials and Discord server are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.